welcome to another video on my channel. I'm here with Chacho, my dog, who is going to be my emotional support for this video because this is going to be a very hard one to make. I'm sorry, this is not going to be very uplifting whatsoever. We are going to be talking about death. I'm going to try my hardest not to cry, but it seems like having to say the words out loud it's really difficult for me right now. I'm still very going through the feels and I'm just sensitive about all of this. And I feel like if I prolong it and do this video later in time, it's not going to make a difference. And I just don't want to make you guys feel like I'm hiding anything from you. I want you guys to be updated and know what's going on in my life with my animals, since these guys are so important to me and my life, and they're also a part of your life as well because you watch my channel. You're able to build a relationship with my animals as well, and I know that you guys love them just as much as I do, so I just really want to keep you guys up to date with everything, so that is why I'm making this video today. But last week, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. This video may be a little choppy because I'm really trying not to cry. It's just really hard to do this. But last week I was about to feed all of my snakes as I normally do, and I found Vendetta and he had passed away. And it was very unexpected and very shocking to me. I literally was holding him the day before and he was completely fine. He never showed any symptoms of being sick whatsoever. I was handling him, he was moving around, everything was perfectly fine. I put him back in his enclosure, and then the next day went to feed him and I just found him and he was just dead. And I was just so shocked and I don't know what happened. I really have no idea. There wasn't anything indicating that he was sick whatsoever. He had been growing so much lately and thriving. He never refused a meal. He was just so healthy in my eyes. There was nothing that I could have ever imagined that could have caused this. So it's just really hard, and I'm really sorry that I have to even be making this video, but I just want to keep you guys updated with it. And I'm going to be making a video on like ways to tell if your snake is sick, just so that way you guys can keep an eye out on your animals. Vendetta didn't show any of the symptoms whatsoever, and sometimes that happens. But I just want you guys to be fully aware so you can keep a really close eye on your animals, because I don't want other people to experience what I just experienced, because it's just awful. But in today's video, I do want to talk about the grieving process of losing a reptile, because it's just one of the horrible things that goes along with keeping reptiles, because keeping them is just such a joy. It's so much fun learning about them, building relationships with them. But every animal that you have is going to die eventually, and it's something that we are going to have to deal with. And it's not something that we talk about very often, because obviously no one wants to even think about their animal dying, because it's the worst thing you could possibly imagine. And with reptiles, they live so long that you really don't expect that day to come, especially when it comes so soon. And I think that's probably one of the most heartbreaking parts about Vendetta passing away, because he was only about a year and a half old. And I expected that I was going to have him for 25, 30 years. I feel sickened at the thought that he was just so young when he passed away. And of course, I was just instantly blaming myself, like, what did I do wrong? So it's really hard, but we should talk about this subject and grieving processes when this happens, because I feel like it's so important to be respectful of other people going through this, because people grieve in different ways. And I was able to realize this because I realized through doing this publicly, because you guys are always so in tune with everything I'm doing and I keep you guys updated. But by doing that kind of like in the public eye, I realized that I grieve a completely different way than a lot of other people do. And people don't understand that. And because of that, they can kind of be a little offensive. And I just feel like it's a little bit disrespectful the way that some people handle it. So I just kind of want to explain my grieving process and why I chose to do things the way that I did, because some people just don't understand and they grieve in different ways, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is no wrong way to grieve. Everyone is different, and you kind of just have to let it play out the way it's going to play out. So the first time that I really had to deal with this kind of more like in the public eye was when my Leachianus gecko Booger passed away. And it's when I kind of realized that I grieve differently than other people. Because when a reptile in particular dies, there are different things that you can do. You can bury your animal. You can get a necropsy done to find out exactly how they died. You can bring them into a vet and have them be made into ashes. Like, there's different things that you can do. And I feel like with reptile keepers, a majority of them want to get a necropsy. And I can completely understand why. They would want to get one because they want to know exactly how their animal died. That way they can prevent it from happening again and just get a better understanding, and it might bring them more peace to know exactly what happened. But that is not how I grieve whatsoever. And I realized it because people were coming to me and asking me if I'm going to get a necropsy. And when I told them no, people were like very upset with me and like judgmental. And it just felt really gross to me because at that point, I didn't really know that people even got necropsies. I didn't know that was like a thing. And for me, it just felt disrespectful because for me, it was just like when an animal of mine dies, it's like so shocking and just so heartbreaking. I'm just like overly emotional about it. And the thought of bringing my animal's body in to be like poked and prodded and like torn apart to find out what the reason is, it just grossed me out. I just did not like the idea of that whatsoever. And for people to be like telling me that's what I should be doing, it was really offensive to me at the time. And it's not how I grieve. For me, like, it's so heartbreaking that I just want to try to move on. I want to distract myself from the pain. I don't want to think about it. And ultimately, I want the animal's body to be respected and buried. And the thought of like having to touch it or do anything to the body just really just doesn't sit well with me. And that's just how I am. So that's why necropsy just isn't something that I'm interested in, and that's not something that I do. And I feel like it would prolong my grieving process as well, because then you need to sit and wait around for the definite reason. And then I feel like I would fixate on the reason why the animal died. And I feel as though that wouldn't bring me more peace. It would just cause me more grief and make me more sad about the situation. So I would rather just try to move on from the situation. It's not like a necropsy can bring your animal back or anything. So what's done is done, and I just don't want to prolong the grieving process. It's just not how I work. So that is why I've chosen to not do a necropsy, even though it was so shocking that Vendetta passed away. And I have noticed that this time when I made the post on Instagram, everyone has been so supportive and amazing through it. And honestly, I did not want to say anything at first whatsoever because it is so hard to even think about. And it's just so strange to me that I feel like I need to tell everyone. But it's weird if I don't tell you guys. So that's why I felt like I needed to make a video and a post and let everyone know what's going on, even though it's so hard for me. And I just felt very sad, depressed, discouraged. I kind of just wanted to give up. I feel like a failure when an animal of mine dies. And it's just like, it's the worst feeling of all time. And it's hard to go through that and then have to tell everyone what's going on and then feel like you're going to be judged. But when this happened this time, everyone was so supportive and just so loving. And I appreciate that so much. And I was not expecting to feel better from reading what you guys had to say, but it really did help me just to hear how Vendetta inspired so many people, how all of you guys just loved him so much. Like, you guys got your own boas because of him. And it just brings so much meaning to his life, even though it was so short. And it kills me how short it was. And I really wanted more time with him. But hearing how he brought so much light to your guys' lives, it really does make me feel better. So I'm trying really hard not to cry. But I really do appreciate you guys. And it really does keep me going. So I appreciate all of the support that you guys give me. And I love you guys. Like, you're my family. And knowing how much you love my animals just means so much to me. Oh, I'm gonna try not to cry. Oh, sorry, I needed to just take a minute. I don't want to be crying in this video. I don't want you guys to see me cry and be all depressing. That's not how my channel usually is, but I do want you guys to know how much I appreciate all of you and hearing all of the nice things that you had to say about Vendetta and how supportive you were in this horrible, horrible time really did help me, and it really makes me want to keep going when I want to give up. So it's amazing. It's truly amazing what you guys have done for me, and I love you guys so much. So I just wanted to keep you guys updated. I want you guys to be respectful of one another, especially when someone is going through something like this. If they grieve or make decisions that are different from you, just be respectful. Just don't feel like you need to pressure someone to handle death a certain way, because it's just not very respectful to that person in the situation. And I know it's so strange on the internet because we all have these reptiles and we know our friends and we can just see them from afar through the internet. And I feel like through the internet, it's so much easier to just like kind of be less emotional or emotionally understanding for others. And that's why people come off way more judgmental on the internet and stuff, and kind of like poke and prod in people's lives because they don't really know the person that well. They don't really have a personal connection. They may not know what the person is going through, so they don't mean to intentionally hurt their feelings or offend them, but sometimes it does happen, especially with the internet. So I just want everyone to just be very aware of that, especially in such a difficult time when someone loses an animal that they love so much. A lot of the people want to know the exact reason why, and maybe someone isn't ready to talk about that yet, or it's not something that they want to revisit in their own mind even. So you just need to be respectful and aware of all of this. If I could give advice for helping someone deal with death and losing an animal, I would recommend being exactly how everyone was on my Instagram post, because literally everyone was just so loving and so supportive. And it really actually did help me, and it got me through this time, and it's why I'm going to continue to make videos and continue doing what I'm doing. And it just made Vendetta's life seem even more meaningful. So it's just something that I think everyone should have. You don't have to have a big following, but if you have a friend or a family member, someone close to you that lost an animal, just be aware of their grieving process and just try to offer your love and support in any way that you can. So again, thank you guys so much for your love and support. I'm going to continue to be making videos, and like I said, I'm going to be making a video on how to tell if your snake is sick, the symptoms of it to be aware of. So I hope that will be helpful. That's going to be my next video. So I'm just going to keep on going. Thank you guys so much. I love you all so much, and I will see you guys in the next video, and it will be way less depressing, hopefully. So I will see you guys in the next one.